When Elaine's grandfather died, he left her a small house in upstate New York, old, creaking, and half swallowed by the trees behind it. She'd never visited as a child. Her mother had refused. "There's something wrong with that place," she used to say, "especially the orchard." But when the will came, Elaine, 25, broke and newly divorced, couldn't afford to be picky. The house was plain and weather-worn, with ivy creeping up the walls and a crooked weather vane spinning in the wind. But it was the orchard that pulled at her attention from the moment she arrived. Dozens of apple trees, wild and overgrown, stretched into the forest behind the house. The air smelled sweet and sour, and the apples were the deepest red she'd ever seen, almost black in some spots, like they'd rotted on the branch. At night, the orchard groaned. She thought it was just the wind. Elaine found the journal on the second night, hidden behind the bookshelf. It was old and leather-bound, filled with yellowed pages and sharp handwriting. The entries began in the 1940s. They were written by her great-grandmother, Evelyn. "Something moved between the trees last night. Too tall to be a man. Too thin. I told James we should cut them down, but he won't listen. He says we need the apples for winter. But those apples aren't right. They taste like ash and blood." Elaine laughed it off, old-timey paranoia. But the next night she heard the trees again. Only this time it wasn't wind. It was a creaking, like footsteps, heavy and slow. She closed the blinds and left the light on. On the fourth day, a knock came at the door. An old woman stood outside, bundled in layers despite the warm air. "You shouldn't stay here," the woman said flatly. Elaine blinked. "Excuse me?" The woman didn't blink. "They say he only comes when there's fresh blood in the family line. You're the first in decades." Elaine stepped back. "Who are you?" "Doesn't matter, just don't eat the apples, and don't go into the orchard after dark." With that, the woman turned and walked off down the dirt road, disappearing into the mist like a ghost. Elaine shut the door, heart pounding. She didn't sleep well that night. She resisted the orchard for a week. But on the 8th night, she saw lights between the trees. Soft, flickering lantern glow deep in the orchard. Curiosity won. She grabbed a flashlight and stepped into the grass. The orchard was silent. Not quiet, silent. Even the crickets had stopped chirping. She walked past twisted trunks, their bark dry and flaking, their apples hanging like swollen hearts. The light was gone. She turned back, or tried to, but the trees were different, shifted somehow. The path she'd taken was gone. The flashlight flickered, then died, and from deep within the orchard she heard it. Creak, 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 like branches bending under something massive. Then a whisper, dry and hollow. "You're back." She ran. Branches tore at her skin. She stumbled through the darkness, blind with terror, until the house burst into view. She slammed the door behind her, gasping. When she turned to lock it, she saw something at the edge of the trees, tall, slender, motionless, watching. The next morning, she found a basket on the porch, filled with apples, perfect deep red apples that glistened in the sun like polished rubies. There was no note, no footprints, just the basket. She threw them out. That night, the groaning returned, closer than ever. At 3:13 a.m., her phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Why did you waste my gift?" She dropped the phone. The door creaked. Something was trying the handle. Elaine grabbed a kitchen knife and backed into her room, locking the door. She sat there until morning, listening to slow, dragging footsteps move up and down the hallway, though when the sun rose, no prints marked the floor. She called the sheriff. He came by but found nothing. "Teenagers," he shrugged. "Maybe a prank." That afternoon, she read more of Evelyn's journal. He was here again last night, taller than the trees, face like paper, no eyes, no mouth, just teeth. He left apples on the porch. James ate one. Now James doesn't sleep. He just stands in the orchard at night and talks to him. I think he's going to offer the baby next. Elaine dropped the book. The sun was setting. She looked out the window. Her reflection stared back, but didn't move with her. The dream started that night. She stood in the orchard, surrounded by whispering voices. The trees bled sap like veins. Apples grew from her arms. And he was there, towering, smiling. He touched her forehead and whispered, "You belong to me now." She woke up screaming and with dirt under her fingernails. The front door was open. The apple basket was back, full again. This time one was missing. The final entry in the journal was barely legible, scrawled in a shaking hand. I tried to run. He followed. James is gone. The baby, too. I think I'm next. I hear the creaking every night. He's waiting for me to rot so he can plant me like the others. If you're reading this, burn the orchard. Burn it all. Elaine made her decision. She grabbed a can of gasoline from the shed. The trees were still, watching. She doused the trunks one by one. Her hands shook, and she thought she heard laughter, low and crackling like a broken radio. She lit the match. The fire spread quickly. Flames swallowed the trees, roaring to life. The apples popped and hissed like blisters. Smoke rose thick and black into the sky. And then she heard it. The scream, not human, not animal. Something old. She turned to run, but something grabbed her ankle. A root. Burning. Alive. She screamed and kicked, breaking free, crawling back to the grass as the orchard burned. Something tall moved in the flames, arms too long, body too thin, face melting like wax. He didn't follow her. He just watched. Until the fire took him. Elaine left the next morning. She never looked back. The land was sold. The new owners leveled the orchard and built a small vineyard. But the apples came back. Wild trees sprouting overnight, and sometimes, on still nights, you can hear a creaking sound, like someone or something walking between the trees, waiting for someone new.